Alright guys, this is our last section of trig identities. We're doing either products to sums, so taking something that's multiplication, like these first three, it's like sine times sine or cosine times cosine, and turning it into some sums or differences. Or the reverse, we're taking sums, differences, and turning them into products. Now, good news is you don't have to memorize these new formulas. They will be on the test and everything, so you don't have to memorize these. So we just have to know how to use them. So for instance, if we're looking at this first example here, it says express each product as a sum. So it's a product of a cosine times cosine, which means I should be focusing here on this second equation. And I'm just going to start writing. I'm going to go by the formula. There's a half in front. Okay. This 4 theta is going to be like my alpha, and the 2 theta is like my beta. So here we go. It's going to be cosine 4 theta minus 2 theta, just straight from the formula, plus cosine 4 theta plus 2 theta. So again, you don't have to memorize these, we just have to know how to plug things in and use them. So we're going to have a half on the outside, simplify it up just a little bit. It would be cosine 2 theta times cosine 6 theta, and that's the answer. Alright, so make sure, I want you guys to try number 2, fill it in, so when I check your homework tomorrow, number 2 should be complete. Okay, now the reverse works as well. So if you look at number 3, I have a sum of 2 sines, and I want to write it as a product. So if I look up the formula, I know you don't have the formulas on the screen, but you've got them on your paper. I would be looking at the very first sum to product formula, where once again my 4 theta would be like my alpha, my 2 theta would be like my beta, and then I use the first formula to expand it. So the formula says take 2 in front, sine. If it's alpha plus beta, it would be a 4 theta plus a 2 theta. It's all over 2 from the formula. Then the second part says cosine, alpha, so 4 theta minus beta this time, still all over 2. And then once again, just one step of simplification here. So my answer for this one looks like 2 sine. 6 theta over 2 would just be 3 theta. And 2 theta over 2 would just be 1 theta. And that's the answer. So once again, try number 4 on your own, use the formulas, plug them in, and then we'll check that one in class tomorrow. Now, the last 2 examples on here are identities. So just like before, we always want to pick the more difficult looking side. So if you look at number 5, I would say the left looks more difficult. And what's happening is on the top, we have a sum of 2 different signs. So I'm going to use a sum to product to see what I can do to simplify it up. And if I use it again, same formulas from up top. This one happens to be the very first formula again. So it's going to look like this. 2 sine. It's going to be 1 theta plus 3 theta over 2. Okay. Then cosine 1 theta minus 2 theta all over 2. Oh, excuse me, minus 3 theta. Okay. All right, now if I clean this one up again, I have to take into account some of the even-odd properties. We haven't talked about this a whole lot, so we'll talk about this in class again. But if I simplify the first part, no big deal. 4 theta over 2 is 2 theta. If I simplify the second part, here's what I have. I have negative theta, because 1 theta minus 3 theta, kind of my messy 3 theta here would be negative 2 theta, divided by 2, and I get negative 1 theta. Okay, now, on the bottom here, I still have this 2 sine 2 theta. So you can see how that's going to clean up. I can go ahead, cross these out, cross out the 2's with it, and then what I've got here is cosine negative theta. Well, I kind of know the answer already. The answer should be a positive theta. So what the even-odd property tells me is cosine of a negative theta is the same as cosine of the positive theta. So I got it. Okay, and then just as a little side note, because you're going to see this come up again, if you have sine of a negative theta, the way we simplify that one is we take the negative in front of the sign, because it's an odd function. Same with tan of a negative theta. That's an odd function, so the negative can also come out front. Okay, so you guys try number 6. It's the very last thing on there. Fill it in. So there's only 6 questions in this whole section, and then we'll go over the rest in class.